Alrighty, we are live. What is up, Stampers? I appreciate you all for tuning in today. If you don't know who I am, my name is Rafael Jemerson. I am the owner, founder of Stamper Signings. We are a nationwide mobile notary service that specializes in providing estate planning notary services for estate planning law firms. And I am the founder of the Stamping Academy, where we help notaries learn how to grow their practice through estate planning notary services. Before we begin, please make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. We are dropping daily, we are dropping weekly, and flooding the notary community with free, useful, simple, and practical content, information that could be applied out into the field. What I want to talk about today is how to handle complex situations. As a notary, there are going to be times in your career where you're going to be put in situations where they can be complex, and in those moments it's got to be you, it's going to be up to you to be able to determine if you're able to provide the service, or if you can provide the service. So I want to share a couple of stories that hopefully, by you listen to the story, you take lessons from it and be able to apply it into your business. So a couple of years ago, when I was very early in my career, I want to say probably 2019. I was probably about a year or two in. I had got a request for a power of attorney signing, and during this time, didn't do too much general notary work. A lot of my business came through signing services. So when you're working with signing services, especially during this time, a lot of my business was mainly loan signings. And with loan signings, it's pretty simple. You just, for the most part, explain the purpose of what the document is. You don't really talk about interest rates. You don't really do too much talking. You just just give a one-line sentence on what the purpose of this document is. And if they have anything, if they want to know anything in particular to the interest rate or to when's their payment date, you just point it to the document. But during this time, I didn't really have too much experience with handling power of attorney documents. So I had a client that requested our service. And this is before stamper signings, by the way. She reached out to me. She said, "I need to get a power of attorney done. My ex-husband's father, or my ex-husband's father is going to have open heart surgery, and I need to get a power of attorney document signed." So me being just being the notary that I am at that time, I was excited because cool, I got a phone call from my Google page. I'm getting the opportunity to do something outside of loan signings. And I was just so focused on not having to wait 30 days to get paid. So again, lack of experience. I didn't really ask too many questions. Only thing I asked was, okay, does he have a valid driver's license? Do you have the document? Okay, great. Let's go on. I didn't even ask if it was sound of mind. I'm just ready to get it done. So I go to the hospital. I meet the lady. She has a power of attorney document. And one of the red flags that came up during this signing was she had this power of attorney document. Now, if you're not familiar with power of attorney documents, there's a variety of power of attorney documents, and they all do not, and they're all of them have different meanings. So you have a durable power of attorney. You have a limited power of attorney. You have a medical power of attorney. You have these different power of attorney documents, and they all mean different things. And so she had this power of attorney document, and mind you, this is for her father-in-law, for her father-in-law who's going in open heart surgery. So there's a good chance that there's a chance that he may not make it through the surgery. So it was important for her to get this power of attorney document signed. Of course, like most power of attorney signings, there's always some type of family issue or whatever going on, and this was the case. Now, in regards to family issues, me as the notary, it's not my job to worry about family issues. My job is to make sure that the person signing this document is sound of mind, they're coherent, they're not being forced into signing this document, they understand the contents of the document, and they have their ID. That's my job as a notary, right? And so when I get to the signing, she's asking me questions. She's like, do I have the right power of attorney document? Is he supposed to sign here, a sign there? And at the time, again, I'm not truly experienced with handling this type of signing because I haven't done too many of these. And so I'm telling her, hey, you need to sign here. This is, he was signed here, this and that. And she asked me, do I have the right document? I was like, yeah, is this the power of attorney document? Where'd you get it from? She said, oh, I got it from online. I was like, okay, if you got it from online, then I'm pretty confident, this is the right document. I'm saying all this stuff, right? And during this time, I'm not experienced. You're right. And knowing what I know now, I would have told her to go to an attorney because nowadays I'm not recommending any client to grab their documents from online because most clients, when they're grabbing these documents from these websites, they don't know if these documents are applicable to their situation. So I want to keep it. I'm going to remind you guys: this gentleman is going into open heart surgery, right? And she's dealing with a notary who's not experienced in handling this situation. So we get as soon as we go in there, we get everything signed and notarized. And after that, I want to say 2 days later, she gives me a call and she lets me know that, hey, this wasn't the right document. You told me this is the right document, and I have to go through this all over again. And thank God that he survived. He made it through the open heart surgery. Now I got to get this done again. And so at the time, I was just like, oh, I mean, when I was filling out the document, I was confident that this was the right, that this was the right, that this was the what we needed to have filled out correctly. Because she took the document to the bank, which is what most people. So I'm assuming when she took the document to the bank, she had a limited power of attorney, but she really needed a durable power of attorney. And durable power of attorneys, uniform statutory form power of attorneys, are typically deals with finances, but she only had a limited power of attorney. So for limited power of attorneys, I believe those are. I believe that one. I'm not too sure what limited power of attorneys are. If you know, please drop it in the comments below. Educate me. But I'm really knowledgeable on durables and uniform statutory form. And usually those are in regards to finances because they may need to get access to the bank account, to the principal's bank account, and they may have to pay their bill, may have to pay the bills for the principal, etc. So she took the form to the bank and she said it wasn't filled out correctly and this wasn't the right form. And so she tried to blame me for the most part. She tried to hold me responsible for the document. Now, luckily for me, I didn't give her no legal advice. Only thing I said was, "Hey, this is supposed to be filled out. You supposed to sign principal signs here, the agent signs here, and the notary signs here." So she tried to use the fact that she got the wrong power of attorney document, tried to hold me responsible for it. But I didn't tell you to download that document. And so, in situations like this, because at the appointment, it was pretty much it was pretty much intense. It was an intense appointment because she was going through some issues with the ex-husband. The father-in-law, who she got along with, wanted her to be his agent, but he's going into open heart surgery. So there's no telling if he's going to make it through the surgery or not. And so, what I want to share with you, the notary that's watching this, if you ever get requests for these type of situations, you want to have your questions like, you want to be very clear on how to make sure these signings are being handled correctly, right? Because oftentimes, if you're not on top of your game and you slip up and say something that you're not supposed to say, that client will try to hold you responsible. And if they try to hold you responsible, then hey, they're filing a claim on your bond. Then they're going after your insurance, and it's a whole bunch of things that can take place. And so, for the notary that's watching this, in regards to these type of signings, you always want to ask if the person is sound of mind. You want to make sure the person is coherent; they're not being coerced into signing these documents. You want to make sure that, okay, where did you get your documents from? Did you get these documents from an attorney? Did you get these documents from online? You want to know these things, right? Because if the best thing for you to do when regards to dealing with these type of situations is making sure that your client went through an attorney, because when they go through getting the documents online, they're really taking a chance. They're really taking a risk that this may not be the right document, right? And even in a situation like that as well, you want to make sure that you're not saying anything that could be constructed as legal advice, right? So if they're asking you where do you sign or where they're supposed to sign or whatnot, you want to double back with the question, right? So if it says, if you don't know what a principal means, the principal is the person giving power of attorney, and the attorney in fact, or the agent is the person receiving power of attorney. Right. So you want to know these terms ahead of time as well. So that way you're not put in a position where you're like guessing. Because the last thing that you want to do is guess. And if you're not familiar, power of attorney signings are very important signings. That's not a signing that you want to mess up. Because oftentimes these signings are in regards to finances. And there are cases of elderly abuse. There are cases of people being taken advantage of, being taken advantage of, and you want to make sure that you, as a notary, you're on top of your game and you know your state laws as well. So luckily for me, I was able to dodge. I was able to dodge that situation because I didn't give her any legal advice. I just pretty much told her, okay, this is where the principal signs. This is where. But I guess I didn't. I had the wrong areas of where she was supposed to sign that. And on top of that, she didn't have the right document anyway. So luckily for me, again, she didn't have the right document. She didn't have the right documents in the first place, right? So be on top of your A game. Another situation on how to handle a complex situation is with IDs. Now, here in California, uh, I know here in California, as far as for situations, I pick up a lot of appointments from clients that basically were informed where they were told that they weren't able to go through with the signing because the notary they called previously told them that they didn't have an ID, that they couldn't proceed with it. Well, here in California, we have flexibility in our state law. So if you don't have if your ID is expired, you can proceed with the signing as long as the ID was issued within the last 5 years. Right now, if it's a situation where the ID has expired and the last time, and it's been longer than 5 years since it's been issued, then you could proceed with. Then you would proceed with doing the signing, but the signer would need to present two credible witnesses to credibly identify the signer, and then those two signers would need to have a valid and unexpired ID as well. Right. So I'll give you another story of a complex situation. I had another signing, another power of attorney signing at a hospital, and I had a lady call me, and she said, "Hey, I have my boyfriend is in the hospital. He recently had a stroke, and we need to get a power of attorney document notarized." Now, again, this is in my second. I think this was probably in my second year as well. And I learned from the first time around where I asked, I said, "Okay, well, is he sound of mind? Is he coherent? Is he, is he able to? Is he sound of mind or whatnot?" She said that yeah, he's sound of mind. He's coherent. However, he's not. He recently had a stroke, and he will have difficulties with writing his full signature. So whenever you have clients where they may have some restrictions with on their right on the left side of their body, and they're not able to write out a full signature, you can do what is called a signature by mark. Now here in California, we can do a signature by mark. I'm not sure about other states. I would encourage you to do your due diligence. Oftentimes, because when I'm doing loan signings or we're doing estate plan signings, we don't normally come across clients where they need to do a signature by mark. But for those DIY clients, there is a chance that you may come across a person who has to do a signature by mark. And if it's allowed in your state, definitely do your due diligence. Make sure you're following make sure you're following those protocols to make sure you're compliant and make sure everything's getting done correctly. So, said he had to do a signature by mark. I said, okay, cool. That's not a problem. Um, yeah, we can, if we can do a signature by mark, but he would need to present two again. Whenever he had to do a signature by mark, he could just do an X, and he would need to him would need to present two credible witnesses to verify that he's doing a signature by mark, and then they would need to sign their name. They would need to sign their name by that mark as well, acknowledging that they served as a witness, all right, to the signature by mark, right. So again, I'm asking my pre-qualifying questions, and she's answering everything. She said, "Yeah, everything checks out, everything as well." And then she asked me if I have a power of attorney document. Now, I'm not a document preparer, so I can't provide a document for you. You would need to go to either through a document preparer or go through an attorney. And she said, "Cool, no problem. What time can you come here?" I gave her the time, and got everything set up. So we're all set. I'm thinking like, all right, cool. Everyone got their IDs because she confirmed everyone because she confirmed she had her ID and he had his ID because they'll both be signing. And she confirmed they'll have the witnesses present for the signature by Mark. So I'm thinking, all right, we're good to go. So man, I go to the appointment. I go to the hospital. I'm ready to get everything signed and notarized. I pull out my journal. She tells me that, oh, I just realized that he doesn't have his ID. Great. All right. So if he doesn't have his ID, we got to have those two credible witnesses here available. Are they here, by the way? She says, no, the witnesses aren't here yet. Okay, great. So while we're in the middle of, while we're sitting there waiting, by the way, she doesn't have the document as well. So we don't have IDs, we don't have the witnesses available, and we don't have the paperwork ready. So in a situation like that, in a situation like that, it doesn't make sense for you to be there at the appointment because you don't have all of these things ready after you told me over the phone that you have all these things ready to proceed with the signing, right? So after that, interesting thing happens. The boyfriend recently had a stroke. He can't communicate. He can't verbally communicate. But if I ask him to put up a 1 for yes or a 2 for no, he's able to communicate with me through, just from using his hands. And so while I'm there, I actually asked him, I was like, hey, are you sound in mind? Are you being forced to sign this document? Are you okay with her serving as your attorney, as your agent? And he gave me a 1 for yes. And if I told him to put up a 2 for no, he's able to do that. And then also what you want to do in a situation like that is ask who's the current president. You know who the current president is. And he was able to nod his head and say yes. And so obviously he couldn't speak, but I gave him a name. It's like, who's the current president? Is it George Bush or is it Barack Obama? And I think at the time, who was that? Who was the president at the time? Who was the president? I think Barack Obama was the president at the time. And he put up a 1 for Obama and said, yes, he's the president. Okay, great. So he's obviously aware of what's going on. He's not able to, verbally communicate it, right? So I'm sitting there waiting, because I want to get this done because I'm already here, right? So it's something interesting happens. His wife shows up. His ex-wife shows up to the appointment, and she knows the girlfriend and everything. It's like, okay, cool. That's and she just checking in. She just dropped by, and she's aware that the girlfriend is trying to get a power of attorney document signed for her ex-husband. So one thing I noticed was that the girlfriend was, she started to get really uncomfortable with, I guess, with the ex-wife presence. I'm not sure what the case may be, but yeah, she just got immediately uncomfortable. You could just tell the energy kind of shifted in the room, and she wasn't as pressing as hard to get this power of attorney document signed. So she says, hey, I'm going to leave because I'm going to make sure I get his ID real quick because we're still trying to figure out the ID and the witnesses and all that stuff. So her witnesses, the girlfriend's witnesses, didn't show up and she didn't have the ID. She said she was going to go to Office Depot and I'm going to, get the power of attorney document so we can get everything signed. So she leaves. And while I'm there at the signing, the ex-wife tells me that the reason why I'm here and the reason why she got out of here really fast is because she tried to sell my ex-husband's house while he was here in the hospital, right? So she tried to sell his house, right? And she's trying to get access to his bank account so she can get the proceeds or, do all this stuff, right? But the sale didn't go through because she didn't know that my name is still on the deed to the house. And the sale of the property is not going to go through unless it has my signature. So I put 2 and 2 together. I said, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Why she doesn't have his ID, why she doesn't have the power of attorney document. It just made a lot of stuff made sense. And so in that situation, the boyfriend who had a stroke, has a nurse who's helping them as far as being a liaison, not a liaison, but just communicating with the ex-wife and asking the husband questions as far as, do you want her to serve as your power of attorney and this and that. And so the girlfriend never comes back, but the boyfriend tells the ex. Well, at this point now it's between the ex-husband and the ex-wife, and he pretty much at this point wants her to be the ex-wife to be the power of attorney because they need to get this document signed, outside of just the sale of the house. There's some other stuff going on. So here's the funny thing: we don't have the IDs, right? But the ex-wife was able to bring two witnesses that not only that she knows, but those two witnesses knows the ex-husband as well. And I guess the ex-husband is friends with these individuals, and so they show up, right? And they show up with the power, and they show up with the power of attorney document as well, right? So those two witnesses, they're going to serve as credible witnesses to credibly identify the ex-husband, and then they're also going to serve as witnesses for the signature by Mark, as well. So again, I have to ask him. I was like, okay, well, the ex-wife is here. I want to ask, can you give me a 1 for yes or a 2 for no if you want her to be your agent? And he gives me a 1. So, make a long story short, we ended up getting the documents. We get it signed and notarized. I get the signature by Mark from the ex-husband. I get the signature from the ex-wife, and then I get those signatures from the two witnesses as well. And I have make sure everyone signed my journal, so that way everything is done, completed. I'm ironclad in this process. And I was probably there for like an hour, almost like an hour and a half, just trying to get all this stuff figured and sorted out. So I got everything signed and notarized. I got compensated for my time, and then after that, I want to say, maybe a day or two later, I had a Bank of the West call me. So I guess the gentleman, the husband, who or the ex-husband, the guy who's pretty much the principal for the most part, giving power of attorney, his bank calls me. And they want just asking me questions like, hey, we know we recently got this power of attorney document submitted to us for our client. We just wanted to follow up because we heard he was in the hospital. We just want to make sure that that he wasn't coerced into signing this document. And if he wasn't coerced and he was fully aware of what he was signing. And I pretty much explained to them, like, yeah, I pretty much explained the entire situation of what happened. And they were like, okay, great. We're gonna thank you for sharing that with us. We're gonna proceed with getting this taken care of. So after that, that was the last that I heard from that situation. And that was some years ago. And so in your notary career, you're gonna be faced with complex situations, mostly when you're dealing with general notary work and you're dealing with DIY signing. So if you're not familiar with DIY, it's do it yourself. It's the client, they're taking it upon themselves to get these type of documents notarized instead of going through an attorney. The reason why I kind of like, if you're going to do DIY signings, you need to be very knowledgeable of your state laws. You need to be very knowledgeable of them. You don't need to know every single thing, but as far as like handling IDs and handling witnesses and making sure your journal is filled out correctly, you want to make sure you are very knowledgeable of handling knowledgeable of those laws. Because if you're going to do DIY signings, general notary work signings, people will put you in positions where people will put you in a position where it can be really awkward, and it could put you in a space like, okay, if I'm not sure what to do, what do I do here, right? You don't want to just be overly reliant on the National Notary Association. It's great that they have a hotline, but you're at the end of the day, you're a business owner, you're self-employed, you're an independent contractor, so you should take it upon yourself to be knowledgeable of your laws, of what you can and can't do. If you are not confident in a situation where you're on the phone and they're telling you everything and everything checks out, and then you go to the signing and everything that they told you on the phone is completely different from what is actually taking place while you're there at the location, then you should leave. If you don't feel comfortable, then leave, right? Don't go ahead and assume that you can do this, right? You could proceed with the signing and then it comes back and it bites you in your ass, right? And then they found the claim on your bond and things of that nature, and it's a complete headache. So if you're not knowledgeable on how to do certain things when it comes to DIY signings, please leave. Don't risk it, right? But the cool thing about working with attorneys for the most part is why I recommend a lot of notaries go through attorneys when you're doing these power of attorney signings, these will signings, even these trust signings. The attorneys are pretty much already done the legwork for you already. They already confirmed that this person has their IDs. They already confirmed that this person is sound in mind and they want to proceed with getting these document signs. And also, Also, another thing that they do as well is the attorney is not going to schedule the signing unless it's been approved by the client. So if the client that's setting up the power of attorney, they're setting up the trust, or they're setting up the will, if they don't approve of those documents, then they're not going to schedule the notary. So by the time they get to you, when they schedule the signing, everything has already been taken care of. They already confirmed the IDs, the client has already approved the documents, and they can proceed with the signing. Even when it comes to emergency signings as well, like the one I did for the open heart surgery signing. So work with attorneys for the most part. They're going to make sure that everything is done right because the attorneys, their name and their firm is on the line as well. So they're not going to take the risk, right? They're not going to risk the chance of their firm getting sued or the attorney risk losing their I think it's their bar, like getting whatever. I forgot what it's called, but they're not going to risk losing their license over a client that's not that's not being truthful or doing everything to the T to make sure everything gets done correctly. So, like I said, there's nothing wrong with doing DIY signings. If you are going to do those in regards to trust, power of attorneys, make sure that you're knowledgeable of your laws. Know how to handle IDs, how to handle witnesses, how to handle signature by marks in your state. And the more knowledgeable you are in a situation, the more knowledgeable you are, the more confident that you're going to be in your process. Because when you're confident, you can say, "Oh, we can't proceed with this because you don't have your ID." Oh, we can't proceed with this because even though you have the witnesses, this witness doesn't have the ID. I've actually had a signing where we had to get two credible witnesses for a signer who didn't have their ID, and the witnesses one of the witnesses that presented their ID showed it was expired. I can't do nothing with that. That's a notary. I'm not gonna risk my commission because your witness has an ID that's expired. So don't be afraid to leave. Right? It's not going to be it's not going to look bad on you because at the end of the day you're protecting yourself and you're protecting your business, and you don't want to risk a lawsuit. You don't want to risk a claim being filed on your bond as well. So um yeah, during in your notary career you're going to be faced with these type of situations. Be knowledgeable of your laws and knowing what to do in these particular signings. Right? Don't be afraid to leave. So I hope you guys got a lot of value from this. Um, I hope this has encouraged you to, take some time to go over what you can do in your state, what you can and can't do, and have fun with this as well. I don't want this the video to be like you gotta like. I don't want you to operate from a place of fear. Fear is just an illusion, and at least in my opinion, fear is just an illusion. But also be smart. Be smart about what you can and can't do. Don't operate from a place of fear because this is a great business, a great industry to be a part of. But there's just some instances sometimes where people like to take shortcuts, and they want you to do them a solid or do them a favor. Don't risk your commission. It's not worth it. All right. Again, do your due diligence. Hope you guys got a lot of value from this video. Hope you guys again take heed to this video and go into the field. And when you're going into the field, keep what I'm saying in mind, and take action. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. If you need if you want personalized instructions, if you need a step-by-step plan on how to execute within your business, please make sure you book a 1-hour consultation. I will do my very best to give you clarity in your marketing, give you a clear instructions on how to proceed with your business, so that way we can get you to the money. And if you're also looking for something for a long term or looking for one-on-one help for 6 weeks or so, I can definitely help you out with that as well. Make sure you hit the links below in the description. Make sure you sign up. And if you're also a notary that's watching this, make sure you join our network. We're currently looking to add notaries to our network. Always looking for notaries, mostly looking in Texas, and we're also looking in Florida as well. If you're a California notary, definitely join our network, and also from other states as well, because we do business all across the country. All right. Again, take action. Make sure you're knowledgeable of your state laws. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Peace.